What is good, Tilray traders and investors? It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Today is Friday. Happy Friday, January 13th. Hope you're well. And in this video, going to be doing some analysis on Tilray. There's a major indicator flashing bullish at the moment, so we'll discuss all that and more. There's a few other news developments that I want to discuss, and also just got back from Florida, so I want to share a little bit of that with you all. So before we get to it, make sure to smash like, all that good stuff. To help support me in the channel, doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, click the bell to be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As I mentioned, just got back from Florida. I was in Daytona visiting my parents. They're snowbirds, so they were there for a couple months. I didn't get to see them during the holidays, so it was great to have some R&R and spend that time with mom and dad. And then had some friends in Orlando that I went and spent the weekend with them. But if you haven't already followed me, you can do so on, you can go to Instagram. I post a lot of that content on there. But yeah, a lot of the community page here as well. I go through some of those updates. But going to move on with the analysis on Tilray. One thing I wanted to mention as well is that Soleil MJ brand introduces a new approach to wellness with a new product lineup and brand refresh. So Tilray, this was yesterday, they announced that they're celebrating the launch of two new signature collections, Soleil Slims and CBN Soft Gels. Soft Gels now available across Canada. And if you take a look at the Slims, they are using the Redecan pre-roll tech. It hasn't been officially confirmed, but if you take a look at the actual packaging and the product itself, you can tell that it's pretty much identical to the Redecan Readies that we know that Redecan, that pre-roll tech, was going to be utilized as part of that strategic alliance with Hexocorp. So we're starting to see fruits of that labor and that partnership. We're starting to see all of those developments come to fruition. And while I was in Florida, I actually picked up some of the Sweetwater Brewing Company Extra Pale Ale, the 420 brand here. The beer is fantastic. It has a 5.7% ABV and IBU is 39. I thought it was very refreshing, very easy drinking, very smooth. Huge beer fanatic myself, and absolutely loved it. So if you've tried this, curious to hear what your thoughts are on it. Let me know in the comments below. Something else that I want to highlight here before we jump into the bullish indicator that we're looking at on Tilray is for my fellow Canadians here. We have the TFSA, so tax-free savings account, and the annual TFSA dollar limit for the year 2023 is $6,500. So if you're like me, I max out my TFSA each year. So I was looking forward to January 1st because that means that I have another $6,500 that I can put in there into my TFSA that can grow tax-free. So any of the gains that we experience in that tax-free savings account, you can withdraw tax-free, right? Hence tax-free savings account. So I was saving a lot of that contribution room. I've used about 60% of it. I'm saving the rest, the 40%, in case we dip more. But taking a look at Tilray here on the chart, I did add Tilray a couple of times now in my TFSA using that new contribution room. And like I said, I'm going to save a little bit of that room just in case we do dip more. But Tilray was one of my biggest additions. I would say Tilray is probably my top four biggest holding MJ position. I've got about 15 different MJ stocks, a mix of US operators, a mix of US, Canadian and US operators. I've got some retailers in there. I've got a couple ETFs. And I think my biggest holding from top to bottom, it would be Hexo, then OGI, then CGC, then Tilray. The only reason why I do love Tilray, I think that they're going to be a great company. I think they're going to be here in 3 to 5, 10, maybe even 20 years from now. I think they're going to stand the test of time. I think they're one of the chosen ones to lead the industry and go on and shape this amazing industry and medicine of the future. But the only reason why I haven't had so much exposure to Tilray is the fact that they're pretty much an alcohol business, right? We know that they have a distribution business, they have a wellness business, they have an alcohol business, and an MJ portion of their business, right? They also own the brand Alpine and Breckenridge Distillery. So there's a lot that remains to be seen. I know that they can use those brands potentially in the future to create like infused whiskeys or spirits and things like that. I'm just not 100% sold on the idea, kind of like SNDL. They're big into retail alcohol. So I personally put my heart and dollars into, and I'm just being not trying to ruffle any feathers or say that Tilray's bad or anything like that. It's a bad investment. I'm not saying that at all. I think that it could potentially, go back to all-time highs. This could easily be a couple $100 stock in 3 to 5 years from now, in my opinion, right? Or maybe even 10 years, right? But my point is that I'm mostly focused on 100% pure MJ plays. That's why Tilray isn't, I get a lot of questions saying, how come Tilray isn't a bigger position of your MJ portfolio? It's only about, I'd say 7% of my overall MJ portfolio. And that is because I'm just not 100% sold on the alcohol portion, because we're going to see, $100 to $200 billion industry in the MJ space. And that's about 100x growth, if not more, from current levels. And, we could potentially see decline in alcohol sales, right? Because we know big alcohol, big tobacco, big pharma has the most to lose from the legalization of MJ, right? So that's why I haven't had that much exposure, but I have been adding Tilray, and it's one of the names that I've been adding quite a bit lately. Also looking to add some more MSOs, but I'm going to be focusing more on the MSOs once we see uplisting. But Tilray, definitely adding more in the future. I've already added it 2 times in 2023. And I will look to use it as pretty much as a sector hedge, right? So again, you have different companies that are pure MJ plays like Hexo and OGI, but now Tilray is partnered with Hexo. So again, I think that Tilray and Hexo are going to create long-lasting value, and we're going to see these 2 companies top 5 globally, in my opinion. And I do think that they have been the chosen ones to work together, and we're starting to see massive volume enter the space as well. Obviously prices are down a lot, but if we take a look at Tilray here on the daily time frame, we have a very strong daily uptrend with the low, high, higher low, and higher high. So anything over 264 is just a daily higher low, and anything over that would remain, the uptrend would remain intact. So if we lose 264 USD, this is on the NASDAQ, if we lose that, we lose the daily uptrend, but at the moment it's a daily inside bar, and it's likely going to be a second daily inside bar tomorrow. So key resistance to be watching will be 329. If we break that, we continue the daily bounce for the 5th day in a row. And if we lose support there at 312, then we start daily consolidation and we look for a higher low compared to 264. And what will mark the daily higher low is an hourly trend change if we do break that inside bar bearish. So if we break support and we lose it bearish and we start daily consolidation, we'll look for an hourly uptrend to confirm to mark the daily higher low and that bottom being set. But at the moment, very, very strong uptrend. And off the lows there, you can see here, it's about 30, almost 32%. So congrats to the bulls who did buy that dip. Got very, very close to the all-time low. We got as low as 252, and the all-time low, I believe, was 243. Double check. Yeah, 243. So great bottom fishing opportunity there. We could even still see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, which would mean more upside from here. And on the daily time frame, we don't have any resistance all the way up to 372 from here. So like I said, resistance number 1 is 331, and then after that, a lack all the way up to 372. If we take a look at the major bullish indicator that is flashing, you can see here on the daily time frame, we have the 50-day crossing through the 100, which is a bull cross in itself, but we are looking for the golden cross to occur. A golden cross is when the 50-day moving average is below the longer-term moving average, the 200-day, and when the 50 comes up below and crosses through the 200, that's called a golden cross. It happened back here when the price was at about $7, and then the price ran all the way up to about 70. Then we had the opposite occur. The 50 was above the longer term moving averages, and the 50 crossed down through the 200. That's called a death cross. And when that occurred, you can even see we back tested as resistance, and then it was the kiss of death, and then we just absolutely got destroyed from there. But when that cross occurred, the price was at about $15. And then we dropped all the way down to $2. So this is why technical analysis can really give you an edge from time to time. And now we're seeing the opposite. So we're looking to see something similar here, and prices are beaten down at all-time lows. So one would think that the bounce is going to be massive. So look for this to potentially cross over the next couple of weeks and months. I think that it could happen realistically between now and March, and that would mean a lot more upside. If the price, when the price was at $7 and that golden cross occurred, we went up to almost 70, and just imagine what is in store for the next bull cross, right? After the whole sector just getting absolutely destroyed. We do have the 50 weekly there that has been very strong resistance as well. So if we can get a weekly candle close over 426, we could easily see a move up to around that $9 to $10 in my opinion, which would line up with the 100 weekly moving average. We also have the 10-week moving average there at 348, and that lines up exactly with the 50-day moving average there at 348 as well. So that's going to be strong resistance, 350 psychological. And then if we can get a weekly and daily candle close over 350, then I really think that we could be heading, like I said, to retest that resistance there, the 50 weekly at 426. And then if we can close a weekly candle over that, easily see $10 in the cards in the not too distant future from there on out. And like I said, this major bullish flashing indicator, golden cross, we're going to be all eyes on that. We're going to be watching that extremely closely over the next couple of months. But going into there, thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Pal Group. Let me know if you've been adding Tilray. Let me know what your biggest MJ holding is, or if you're just invested in Tilray. Personally, I'm diversified. I own about 15 different MJ stocks, and then I also have a ton of other investments, in real estate, mutual funds, things like that. So diversified, not just from a sector perspective, but from an overall broader market perspective as well. But thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. If you could smash the like, share the video with anybody that might find value, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.